We're live.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Mayor Densmore. This is the 18th of March, and if you would please stand as you're able, we'll get the meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome to all of our guests. We're going to move the proclamation right up to the beginning of the meeting, but first I need to get approval from our council. So I'm going to ask if everyone, well, first I got to do roll call, so let's do that.
There it is. Ms. Burr?
Here.
Ms. Cheney?
Here.
Mr. Fisher?
Here.
Ms. Grimer? Ms. Mail?
Here.
Ms. Snyder?
Here.
Ms. Crimer reached out with the explanation of not being able to be here this evening. So I would ask if there's a motion to excuse.
Motion to excuse.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'm presuming everyone has had an opportunity to look at the agenda this evening. And what I would ask is that we move the proclamation up to the beginning of business here. And is there a motion to do such?
Motion to move it to the beginning.
All right, and to otherwise approve the agenda?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor of amending the agenda and such?
Aye.
All right, without objection, I'll take that as unanimous. Okay, I'm going to ask Councilman Marks to come forward and help me with this. Former councilman.
Former council, that's right. So what you're looking at for people here who don't know, you're looking at many members of the Gulf Manor Fire Department to join when this is a volunteer. So I think we have 3 former chiefs here and at least 1 assistant chief and several captains and lieutenants.
If you were a former chief, would you please introduce yourself to our council?
Michael Gunn. Well, came on at 66 with all the guys that when I was a very small child growing up here, I saw create this village. Lots of festivals, lots of other money gathering things that's enabled them to purchase the land and whatever the equipment and began a fire department. The reason they did that is because Cincinnati was charging more than they thought they ought to pay, and they thought they could do better living at home. So I memories back to the very beginning and got an opportunity to step up and participate in some of the management as time went away, and got the opportunity to actually begin paramedic services in 1977, which was remarkable because it enabled us to have more lives saved in 3 months than it used to take us 3 years, which is a good thing because we never killed that many people on fires here. But the point is, the neighborhood was getting older at the time, and we were very busy with very many heart attacks and strokes. So let me pass this on and have somebody else talking for a minute.
Thank you for your service.
Okay, following Mike.
Greg Ballman. I started here in 1974 as a volunteer. 3 years as a volunteer, 37 years full time. I spent 40 years here before I retired. I retired in 14. I was chief from 1989 to 2014, 25 years.
Yeah.
And you cleaned the place up a lot. Thank you all for doing this. Jim was a great guy.
Thank you for your service.
Where's Jim? Jim?
Jim is hiding.
Jim?
Thank you for your service. All right. Former members of the fire department, volunteer or otherwise, would you just raise your hand so everybody can see?
Yay.
And family of Jim Whitus, may we have you step up here with us? How many of you
3
are here? 3? Yes.
3.
Yes.
3
Yeah.
grandchildren.
So-
Grandchildren
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
or not?
Yes.
Whoever you want to have up here. So for those of you who don't know, I'll wait till they come up. But we could have introduced everybody here tonight, but we would have been here a long freaking time. So for all of you know, Jim's wife Donna, daughter Stephanie, son Sean. And these are still Gulf Manor residents.
Yes. And grandchildren,
Yes.
Very good.
Solomon and Elijah.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
My husband Victor and my stepson Victor. Yes.
All right, so I have the honor of getting to read a proclamation that honors Jim Whitus's service to the village, both as a volunteer and as a community member, all that he did in this capacities. Thank you for supporting him. I know from personal experience, I know that everyone in this room recognizes that the great deeds of any individual are only made possible by the family that supports them. Okay. So proclamation number 2024, number 1, honoring Jim Whitus. Whereas the provision of superior service to the village of Gulf Manor residents is reliant upon dedication and devotion of talented individuals who can perform their duties and responsibilities in a professional and capable manner. And whereas Mr. Jim Whitus, a lifelong resident of the village of Gulf Manor, served as a firefighter in the village for over 40 years and retired from Station 47 as a dedicated volunteer and beloved friend of the Gulf Manor Fire Department and residents. And whereas Mr. Whitus joined the family in Gulf Manor as a village resident at a young age, originally on Yosemite Drive, and remained a lifelong resident, residing with his wife Donna and children Stephanie and Sean on Hamel Avenue. And whereas Mr. Whitus contributed to the spirit and livability of the community through his participation in multiple activities, including attending Woodward High School, the cross-country team, the Cincinnati Marlins, and the Gulf Manor Torpedoes swim team, and played semi-pro football. And whereas Mr. Whitus was known to be a long-time season ticket holder of the Cincinnati Bengals, known for his phrase, I love this, I'm a football fan stuck in Cincinnati. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Densmore of the Village of Gulf Manor, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Village Charter of the laws of Ohio and the United States, do hereby affirm and proclaim Friday, this coming Friday, March 22nd, 2024, as Jim Whitus Day in the Village of Gulf Manor, Ohio. And I ask the community on that day to join us in thanking the Whitus family for sharing Jim with the community and recognizing him for his contributions and friendship to the Village of Gulf Manor. We have a picture.
Mel, would you scoot
Do you
that
have a
chair out
camera
of the
that we
picture?
So have one taken for our.
Sure. Would you mind? Sure.
You guys make sure you but get tight. We can move. I can move this way too. So.
Big fish, little fish, and getting back behind you.
Yeah.
And then stuff like that. Your water bottle. Water bottle.
That's good.
Water bottle.
Okay, everybody look at me.
Now look at me.
It's awesome. And then right here. Perfect.
And then I'm gonna get one of them.
Yes.
Well, I would just like to thank everybody for coming. You all know Jim and me really well. And I know he would have had a blast here tonight. Thank you all so much for coming. It means so much to us.
There we go.
Could we have all the fire department people down here with them too? Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody?
Fire people?
Yes.
Plenty of us.
Plenty of us.
It would have been easier for us to.
Rob, I think you guys have to be there.
Personal comments to you, Rob.
Yeah, we may refuse to.
Personal. Rob, let's have the family and the media.
Well,
We might want to get a few of you guys on the other
We'll
end
get a few
here.
guys over there. Joel, why don't you, here? Can I be here?
Absolutely.
No.
Is it safe?
Absolutely.
They said everybody but Lou Marks.
Everybody will what? Hey.
Now, play fair, you guys.
Play fair.
Play
This
fair.
is the wrong
This
word.
is, don't say that.
Look, tighten up a little bit. Come on in, Vanessa, a little bit.
Yeah,
What
we
are we
tightened
gonna
it
do?
up.
Tighten it up. Tuck it in. All right, are we ready? You can't get Craig? Where is Craig? He's hiding behind David. There we
Yeah, you
go.
gotta get Greg in here.
Yeah, you guys.
Tell us when you're ready.
Get that mustache.
The stash.
Let us know when.
The second prize winning stash has gotta be in there.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, go.
Awesome. Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much.
You guys could be here all night. aren't you?
Yeah, if you want to know what golf Manor does to the fire department,
Only me.
what the fire department does to golf Manor.
Well, the butlers would not stop.
Sure.
Oh, this is Walter. Yeah, your friend.
We're great friends, my dad. No, so it's good to see you nonetheless.
Your dad?
Yeah.
That was probably.
Sound warm in here.
Yeah, there's.
Really?
Really?
Jacket on too.
Definitely.
I did see your email, thank you. Oh, yeah, wait,
No, anytime.
Yeah, well, my dad-
Questions like that, I'm definitely pretty responsive.
Yeah.
Try and be.
But I'm not trying to put too much on you.
I'll let you know if there's like every other week it's too much.
All right, yep, sounds good.
Every other week it gets a little busy with payroll, but
Okay.
as long as it's not a payroll week.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was laughing when you sent me that message, like, you can take taxes out, like, then you'll come out the next check. I'm like, oh, bummer. Like, I would never have known this.
All $10.
Right.
All
I
$10.
don't even think I noticed when the full paycheck comes in. I was like,
Share the.
but yeah, I was basically wondering if I could advertise it as like tax deductible. Basically, I was wondering if I can advertise the registration. Right.
But if it goes to anyone else, if someone else.
Right. But yeah, so I can say like, now your registration fee is tax deductible. I can basically say if you're registered, you pay to the village, the registration fee is tax deductible. I can actually advertise it. Okay. It is. But it should be tax deductible anyway, because it's your business.
Yeah.
But if you're business, yes, but from an individual.
That's the old
Okay,
phrase.
now that's your,
I said it.
Back to business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Personal deductions.
Oh, yeah, they're back when they are.
So for most people.
It's still kind of nice. Maybe. Yeah, it feels good.
It's a tax.
It's like, yes, and you can stick deduct the whole $25 or a fraction of it, whatever the rules are.
All right, let's get back to order here. So we have minutes for review from February 20th. Has everyone had an opportunity to look through those? Are there any amendments that are needed to them? Any changes needed?
Actually, you had a personal register.
I did not see that. I will. Any comments on, I realize that I skipped an agenda item. I'll move right back to that. If there's, go ahead and make a motion to accept the minutes. Is there a motion? A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Actually, can I, hold on, I have one, so let me clarify, under the community engagement, community report, appointments to recreation committee are forthcoming, including Phyllis Thomas and Keevan, weren't they for community engagement, not recreation commission? Or does that mean,
Yeah.
There for community engagement.
so that might be, that should probably be updated.
We'll
So
rescind,
page 5 of 10, that very first line, appointments to recreation committee should be to community
Community
engagement committee.
right, good catch.
Thank you for that.
Do
Yes.
you have that?
Just for the 1 second. Say that one more time.
On page 5 of 10, that first line under community engagement committee report, it says appointments to recreation commission are forthcoming. It should be to the community engagement committee are forthcoming. So Ms. Phyllis and Keegan were appointed to the committee, not to that commission. And some small things like Ridge Acres is one word, and it's Ridge Acres Drive, not Avenue, but I don't know if y'all care about those type of details.
It's up to you all.
I don't want to
It's whether
nitpick, but I'm
we-
like, we should
yeah.
probably be
Yeah.
calling the street names.
Right.
Spelling them correctly.
Where there's room for ambiguity and confusion, I
Yeah.
would say it's worth it to correct, but,
That wouldn't be
Otherwise,
one, there's
it
no
just
Ridge
delays.
Acres, yeah.
you know,
But I do think that one is important, that committee.
Well,
that would be very confusing.
why don't you go ahead and we'll make a motion to make those changes as well as the changes for Ridge Acres.
If you can send me those, if there's a list of them, that would be helpful.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
I only just noticed it in one spot, but I can do that.
So is there a motion to amend the approved minutes to have those changes?
You want me to resend my motion to approve that?
I don't know if we
First
need
second.
to.
That dies if nobody, somebody second it?
Yeah.
It was
Charles
second
did.
and
It
voted
was
on.
second.
I didn't say I, fast. I didn't say I.
Yeah,
Wait,
well,
wait.
I would rescind it then and make a new motion to correct the minutes as stated and adopt the amended minutes.
So is there a
Sorry.
motion to rescind and do the others?
I move to rescind and make that motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good.
You need to affirm the proclamation.
Right.
I never,
Okay.
never agreed to them.
Thank you. And I apologize, Ms. Fogelson, for skipping over you here. We do have a registered speaker. Would you please step forward as you're able and state your name and address for the record?
My name is Sandy Fogelsong, 2408 Vera Avenue. And I do have some handouts, so I appreciate it. Yes. I am here representing the previous Recreation Commission, which operated over a 5-year period from 2013 to 2018. During this tenure, our members included Steve Semele, Linda Wise, Laura Dinkeldine, Lisa Safaro, Sharon Cheney, and me. Our village council liaisons included Sharon Cheney, Ryan Toll, and Danny Connect. The reason I am here is to address the misinformation presented by Mayor Densmore in his re-elect Mayor Densmore website that was created on November the 7th, 2023, and is still available as of right now. Before you is a document that I will refer to during this presentation. The document is hand numbered at the bottom right, so it's easier to quickly find the information I'm referencing. It consists of number 1, pages 1 through 9, the re-elect Mayor Densmore document printed from the website. This printout is the section accomplishments of Mayor Densmore's leadership. 2, pages 10 through 12, Gulf Manor Recreation Commission minutes that were dated February the 18th, 2015. 3, pages 13 through 15, Village Council minutes dated February 23, 2015. First, a brief background. During this commission's tenure, we planned and executed a variety of events for the community, such as working with We Thrive to develop the walking routes around Gulf Manor, free community dinners, the 4th of July picnic celebration, soapbox derby fundraiser, breakfast with Santa, Sunday block parties around Gulf Manor, which were designed to meet the neighbors and hopefully help recruit new members. To fund these events, the commission primarily used donations from local businesses, but we did receive some funding and reimbursement from the village. Often, commission members would donate their own money to purchase items that made the event more enjoyable. Examples of items that were donated are the tents that provide shade during outdoor events, food, sodas, water, crafts, holiday decorations. The village was also the recipient of the generosity of Lisa Zafaro, who not only cooked the food for the community's spring and fall dinners, but donated all of it and the supplies and provided containers so we could offer takeout. That said, I am here, or we are all here, because in the re-elect Stephen Densmore document, Mayor Densmore defamed, insulted, and disrespected all of these members of this Recreation Commission who worked tirelessly and often at our own expense to bring events to this village. Please now turn to page 5 of the printout under the heading, Bringing Back the Recreation Commission. I refer you to the last paragraph, which I will read. Quote, incumbent on the successful launch of the new Recreation Commission is an understanding of why the old one eventually failed. In his first year in office, Mayor Densmore identified the cause. The old Recreation Commission had not been in compliance with its own operating codes for a number of years, having too few members to legally spend money. The remaining 4 members of the commission, not enough to have a quorum, attempted to continue to operate the commission, but eventually burned out. There was a failure of community engagement, both in terms of recruiting new membership and in terms of seeking more broad-based input from the community about recreational activities of interest, unquote. Then in bold italics, quote, operating with too few members is not only against the law, it is a failure of the commission's mission to serve the recreational needs of the entire diverse membership of our community, unquote. These lies referring to non-compliance and illegally spending village funds are then repeated on page 7 under the heading Hosting Breakfast with Santa. While it may be true that the commission did burn out, it is a lie that the commission ever operated illegally or spent money illegally. It is also a lie that we did not attempt to recruit new members or that we ever excluded anyone in the planning or execution of events. Before developing his re-election website, Mayor Densmore should have done the homework and investigated the situation detailed in the following readily available documents. Please turn to page 10, the Recreation Commission minutes from February 18, 2015. I will read the section under the heading Old Business. Quote, Steve Semele and Ryan Toll presented that modifications to the Recreation Commission charter does not require a public vote but must be approved by a majority vote of the commission. Currently, the charter states that the commission is to be made up of 9 members. Since there has been a continuous struggle to maintain a quorum at the Recreation Commission meetings, Steve Semele motioned that we reduce the required number of members to 7. Lisa Zafaro seconded. The motion carried. Ryan Toll will inform council of the change, unquote. Next, I will read the minutes of the Village of Gulf Manor dated February the 23rd, 2015, starting at the second bullet on page 14 under the heading Recreation. That Village Council was informed of the change and that all members approved. Quote, reducing to 7 members of committee needed to adjust the charter will bring to council motion to adjust recreation charter to have 7 members of Recreation Commission made by Ms. Cheney, seconded by Mr. Toll. All members approved, unquote. To clarify, reducing the number of commission members allowed a quorum of 4, which enabled the commission to operate within compliance. Finally, Mayor Densmore's website misinformation has damaged this commission, our reputation, so we insist on a public apology and a deletion of this information on the website. Although I can't guess your motive for misrepresenting hardworking community volunteers, it's shameful that you thought to do this. Maybe next time, Mayor Densmore, how about just thanking people who step up and want to do good things for the neighborhood? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fogelson. Any comments from any council members?
Thank you.
I'm happy to respond to a couple of things. One, that first off, there was the assertion made that this was easy to find, and the assertion made that the statements that I made were lies. The statements that I made, I believe still are correct. I was not referring to 2015, which these minutes are presented from. And also, I don't see the minutes signed, though I know that a lot of times the minutes that float around are not minutes that are signed. So I'm not challenging the lack of, I'm not challenging that these minutes are incorrect. But I'm saying they are from 2015, and I was referring to, I wasn't even on council in 2015. But to your point that I should have researched more, absolutely correct, and I apologize for that. That's absolutely on point. The information that I got was not from the record. I got it from other individuals, and that is, I take responsibility for that. I should have followed up with that more. I would say that I had been saying this information in council meetings before it was on the website for at least a year, and no one corrected me on that. And there are members here that could have corrected me on it. Again, I do apologize. You're right. The members of that committee should be thanked for all that they did. My understanding was that there was 3 individuals that were working and that they burned out. The statement that was made that I said that the Recreation Commission never went out and looked for anybody else, that's not my statement in the record here. My statement was that it failed to get other people on it to keep it sustainable. To the point about the quorum number being changed, or the full number of folks on the commission being changed, I'll need to research that. My understanding is that a vote of council can't change the charter, and if the charter said that this number of people, or if there was an ordinance, it would have to be passed as an ordinance to say that the number is being changed. And I don't know the history of that, but I'd bring that up. But again, I want to emphasize the point that I do apologize for any misinformation that I put out there, and I am happy to take that off the website. I do recognize that it's something that I would like to move past.
With all due respect, just one more thing. I think the bottom line is, we can rehash this all night about what was done here, what was
I don't
signed
care
here,
to.
who said this, why didn't you know that? The bottom line is volunteers. These are people who stepped up and gave not only of their time and energy, but also a lot of money. And my sister and I are not wealthy, and we put a lot of money into this. And to have this defamation out in the public space when your whole website was really very positive, except for that. So I'm not sure what the motivation was, but I do appreciate your apology. I would just say that anytime anybody steps up in this community, we should applaud that. Thank you.
I wholeheartedly agree. I would, to the statement of defamation, there was no individual that was named in that. So I would argue that that's not defamation when there was no individual that was named.
I mean, that's legal semantic.
Right,
okay.
and I agreed.
That's legal semantic.
Agreed. I just wanted to reiterate that I apologize for any misinformation that was presented there, and it was never my intention to defame any individuals.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to bring it to our attention.
Thank you, Sandy. thank you everybody for the Recreation Commission and for all of the work you've done so far. You know, for those of us, it does not go unnoticed, so thank you. I do think it is incumbent upon council that we are figuring out the manner in which we are addressing complaints moving forward, such as this, as they relate to individual members, as they relate to council as a whole, to where there is a clear-cut procedure in place instead of refuting and debating wording of people's comments, because it takes a great amount of courage to put these words together in the first place. And our responsibility as public officials cannot be to have our first response be, well, you are wrong because of X, Y, and Z technicalities. Thank you.
Heard and understood. Thank you. One of the things that I neglected to do here was to ask for an affirmation from council on the Jim Whitus proclamation. So I would ask for a motion of affirmation.
Motion to affirm.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And Chief Meter, Fire District report.
Through February, we stand at 100 responses into the village of Gulf Manor. Kind of early to judge trends 2 months into the year, but we are down a little bit over years past. That's across all of our districts, not just here. So we'll see how that goes. There's not always a rhyme or reason to why. But rest assured, we're here for you to make the runs. A couple updates that came out to my board last month. Our ambulance committee met at Horton to finalize the design on the first ambulance that we ordered in 2022. Good news, bad news. The good news is the design is finalized. It'll actually also get used for our ambulance that we're expecting to get delivery of in 2025 or 2026. Bad news is Ford has still not released our chassis to Horton yet, so we're still playing the waiting game. It's here, it's everywhere. So unfortunately, we're at the mercy of the auto manufacturers. They did have an idea that we might be able to push forward a little sooner if we did some prepaying with the money for the chassis, but I don't know that our lease allows us to start pulling money out of the fund to pay to get the chassis ordered sooner. So we'll let legal counsel look at that. Again, it's just a waiting game, but hopefully we'll get that on order soon or get it delivered soon. In the meantime, the one that we took from Gulf Manor as part of the contract to provide service has been hugely beneficial to us. So because of that, we've been able to keep making the runs. So that's it on ambulances. We're gearing up for our spring weather fire hydrant checks. So you'll see crews down in the Gulf Manor area. We periodically try to flow some of the hydrants, not all of them. We have it on about a quarterly basis, so about 25% a year. Then every 4 years, we open each one after they had it, make sure it flows water. But they do take off all the caps to make sure they're not wet. They make sure that the caps are greased. They look for debris that might be blocking the hydrants, etc. If you see the crews out and about, please feel free to stop, talk to them. Our personnel love to interact with people. If your kids are out and about, they'll show them the trucks. We got pictures. We'll have fire hats on board, so feel free to interact as much as possible. And then April 1st, so just about 2 weeks away, marks the 25th anniversary of the formation of the fire district. It was actually voted on in November of 1998, but the first day of operations was April 1st, 1999. We've had really good success with our fire district in partnering with Deer Park and Silverton. Myself came from the Silverton side of the family. I've loved every minute of it. It's been a great for our communities, and I think we're showing that other communities that what we do can benefit communities. We can't always provide each individual service that we'd like to have, but we can find creative ways to help share the services, make it cost effective for all the communities involved. So the crews are happy. They love what they do. My job is easy because the people up there make it so. I don't have a whole lot of, I don't have enough words to express how grateful I am for what the people up there do. So if you get a chance to see them again out and about, please stop say hi, thank them, introduce yourself. Again, we love to talk about ourselves. Other than that, things have really kind of run the game. I'd like to bring out just one thing, if I could. It probably won't show up. It didn't show up last month, but there are a couple of runs that were dispatched into Gulf Manor. And if you look at the dispatch, one was for a shooting, one was for a stabbing. When I report these runs to the village manager, I just put what the dispatch was. I don't put down what we necessarily found. There are some issues that could do with patient confidentiality, so I just put general dispatch. In either case, was that actually any kind of violence? It was an individual that was making some claims that just weren't true, and I know the police department's well aware of it. We're trying to work those things out. So just to let you guys know, if you see that in next month's report, don't think that there's some bad things happening here in Gulf Manor. It's just, I don't want to, it's easier for me to report the nature of why we were called versus then start putting in, well, they said this, and there might have been some medical thing that I don't want to reveal for patient privacy. So if you see that, don't be alarmed. We're not having an issue. I'm sure you can attest that these issues are not happening in Gulf Manor.
I don't want to jinx it.
I'm with you. I'm just solid with there. With that, briefly, I did have a note about our anniversary. So rather than do something in April because it's just the weather's not great, we're going to actually defer any kind of celebration until October, and we're going to tie it in with Fire Prevention Week. It's a good time to get the tours for the station, kind of give us some time to prep. So as information on that becomes available, we'll obviously be sure to include you guys in our push outs of notifications. I know you guys are going to start having some events coming up as spring moves into summer. I just ask that if you would please drop me an email or give me a phone call, or even if you have a pre-planned list of what's going on, so we can make sure we get at least the crews are aware to come down, interact. We can make runs from here as easily as we can make runs from here versus Overton. I think we kind of worked really well last year to get people out and some new faces. You guys see me quite a bit, but I think it's nice that you see the other people on staff. So if you could do that, we'll get in our calendar of events. With that, do you have any questions for me?
Any questions from council?
No, but I'll be sure to invite you to the upcoming Juneteenth event.
We were here last year, and actually it turned out one of my firefighters had one of, I can't remember her name, but she was a teacher back in grade school.
Yeah, yeah.
So we made some people connections there, so we will be happy to attend.
Cool.
Thank you, Chief.
So Chief, we had, there were 2 fire incidents so far this year, which I think we had one last year, but there's a Hamel Avenue and a Mayflower. We appreciate the fast response on those. The other thing that I would mention, so council's aware, Mr. Putoff and I are working on a plan to start refurbishing fire hydrants in the village. That would be the responsibility of the village to paint and make sure that the physical appearance of them are acceptable. So we'll be starting hopefully on Lasannaville sometime early this summer. So,
Nice thing is, all the water main work going in, you've gotten a whole bunch of new, nice brand new ones.
yeah.
We've had the same thing along Plainfield Road, Montgomery Road, and Silverton and Deer Park. It's, every time I turn around, we get a new hydrant put in someplace. Of course, we're tearing up the streets to do it. The residents are not very happy, but at the end of it all work, the fire department's happy, so that's what that's worth. But yeah, and again, the no injuries for any of your residents at the fires. The one actually was kind of a weird coincidence. We've been there for an EMS run just before they discovered the fire. Again, you'll see us at these runs. You'll see our mutual aid partners. We can't. No department in this area outside of the city of Cincinnati can staff to have only Deer Park or only Reading or only Sycamore Township units. So if you see us at a fire and you see about 4 or 5 different jurisdictions, know that that's the standard across Hamilton County, so we can get the right resources in a timely fashion, and we turn around and provide those services to their residents as well. So I know sometimes it looks like it must have been a 10-alarm fire because there were 6 fire departments there. Really, that's just to get the bare minimum of people. So we try to do the same for their communities. So don't be surprised if you see Norwood or Reading or Laughlin trucks here at those kind of incidents, because we need all hands on deck on this.
I was made aware by our police chief about an accident that occurred near the railroad tracks over in our business semi tractor trailer parked too close to the tracks. Luckily, there was no one sleeping in the back of it, but it got hit by the train coming by. So I wanted to bring that to folks' attention. I know that there's Captain Reed wanted us to publicly thank the towing company that came out and helped get that situation secured and everything.
They
But then also,
did a lot of work.
yeah,
So, I mean,
but also our fire district helped and our police helped.
we turned up. And again, the nice thing was it wasn't any kind of from what we understand, the train that uses this track primarily isn't carrying any kind of hazardous material.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel a lot better, knowing that the tracks are there. But it's just really, as we talked, Chief and I did before the meeting, the driver just wasn't nowhere where he parked.
Yeah.
And trains will win against the semi every single time, even if it's not moving fast. So unfortunately, he found out the hard way. So
What crossing was this?
this was not even a crossing. It was the truck driver was in the parking lot of
Atlantic Foods on Section
So in the parking lot, they had
Yeah.
just parked,
Track.
presuming it parallel
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, it was basically a warehouse here,
and he parked his.
Too close.
It's a very expensive morning for.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Chief Mayor, for your service and for the whole team.
You're welcome. And as always, if you have questions, you have my contact information, please reach out. I'm always happy to answer questions and talk about the fire department.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor's report is fairly brief. I wanted to make the executive committee appointment of Katie LaFollette to executive committee. Also, Phyllis Thomas and Keevan Thompson to the community engagement committee. Phyllis has been a long time member of the community engagement team, and glad to have her returning as an official member, and have met with Keevan and am very impressed with the energy and talents that he brings, as well as Ms. Follett, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Had an opportunity to look through all her experience, and I'm very excited for what she brings to the committee. I spoke with a resident, and I don't remember their name, unfortunately, and I'm going to put this out there to see if anybody else knows the individual or would like to join me in the initiative. So this month has been recognized for quite I'll find the date here in a second, as Women's History Month, and something that was brought recently to my attention was someone interested in putting women's hygiene supplies in the female restrooms here in Gulf Manor, which I think is a great idea. Folks may not be aware that this is something that has become pretty standard throughout cities and schools specifically. I'm very proud that the school where my wife teaches has those available. In all frankness, guys don't even know that this is going on, right? But it was brought to my attention that we don't have that here in Gulf Manor. There was a resident that volunteered in making sure that, volunteered to her business, partnering with Gulf Manor to do this. So putting it out there, if you hear about anyone interested in partnering with the village to do this, certainly talk to the administration. I'm presuming that council would give full support for this initiative. On the topic of Women's History Month, there's been a number of for that date that I initially stated. So every president since 1988 has acknowledged this month as Women's History Month, every president for all those years. The thing that I found most interesting in looking at the history of Women's History Month is that it not only in the United States, but in the United Kingdom, in Australia. The day corresponded with March 8th initially as International Women's Day, which was meant to commemorate the championing of the women's right to vote. What I thought was most interesting is I often think of the United States as leading that effort. And actually, we were pretty late to the table in that. So the history of that is New Zealand did it first in 1893, then South Australia in 1894, Soviet Russia in 1917, Sweden in 1919, the United States in 1920, Canada in 1929. One of the, I try to do this each month, recognize a significant area where we can continue our education, each of us. Much of women's history wasn't known and continues to not be known to women as well as men. And there's lots of great opportunities to increase our knowledge on that. So I like to put the resources out there when I do these things. So to that point, there are resources for teachers from the Library of Congress on the National Archives. There are educational resources from the National Women's History Museum. On the Public Broadcasting Services website, there's a Women's History Video Archive. In the Scholastic Women's History Month collection of teaching resources, there's a website for that. And the Anti-Defamation League has resources for Women's History Month as well. I write 3 social service blog posts a week for the Cincinnati branch of United Resource Connection as part of my day job stuff that I do for a nonprofit. There's an article that's online. There was a statement made, I believe, at the previous council meeting that I just recycle previous blog posts that I've written in the past. And that's not completely true. I always make sure that they're up to date and any new resources I put in there. Always looking for additional information to add in. So if you know of additional resources to put out there, please let me know. I'll make sure that we get this put onto our village blog as well. And the final piece that I have is a recognition that April 16th from 11:30 to 1 p.m. there's an intergroup Seder at Mayerson JCC. The event will welcome dozens of community leaders and others from diverse backgrounds as they join to commemorate the Passover holiday. I annually get that invitation, and it's open to invite others as well, community leaders and others that would like to participate. So I want to put that out there. You can get more information at the Mayerson JCC website. Again, that's April 16th from 11:30 to 1 p.m. And if there's no other questions, then I'll ask our village administrator for the report.
Thank you.
Real quick, are there any updates from the first consortium did they had a meeting recently, or the health department meetings that have been attended?
Correct. So there are, yes, I've attended the First Suburbs Consortium. I'm on the executive committee there. They've moved we've moved our membership meeting to the end of March. So there wasn't one in February. We moved it to the end of March. I can follow up with you, tell you when the date of that membership meeting is. Our guest speaker will be the Hamilton County Coroner, who speaks well of what you learn in that office about trends in the city, health trends in the city. With regard to the Hamilton County Public Health, they've elected new members. I was unable to attend that meeting actually when that occurred, but they had 2 new members up for that had been appointed for re-election, and my understanding is that those 2 members were approved. Any other questions?
Are the minutes from the first suburbs, are those posted online? I don't know that they're up to date.
Yeah, I don't know. I can ask the president for that information. Any other questions? Mr. Ruth?
Thank you. The Community Development Block Grant is a federally provided grant that is administered through the state of Ohio and here locally.
Thank you.
And we're streaming. Where was I? So two public hearings are required. Hamilton County will post at their expense our 2 public notices. We will need to post it on our website and do whatever we want to do internally to broadcast to our community through our own communication channels when these meetings will take place and solicit that feedback. So looking at the calendar, I've identified and am requesting that council consider the first public hearing would be on Thursday, April 4th. There's a community engagement committee meeting scheduled that evening at 6 o'clock. We would do a public hearing at 5:45 p.m. And then the second meeting, which is required of the full council as opposed to just a committee, would be the approval of the plan. That one could be conducted on Monday, April 15th, also at 5:45 p.m. I had a green thought about that and it just went away. The plan itself has to be submitted by April 30th to Hamilton County Planning. So being able to hold the hearings, the April 4th meeting is compliant with the request to have at least 7 days notice publicly of the solicitation meeting. And then the April 15th meeting would allow us to have a good 15 days to be able to finalize our plans and submit them. So I would request at this time that council make a motion to hold the 2 hearings. The first one
April 4th.
Thursday, April 4th at 5:45 p.m. and the second on Monday, April 15th at 5:45 p.m.
And 15 minutes is enough time?
It should be,
Okay.
you know.
And this is to gather public feedback
Correct.
Okay. What have we used these funds for in the past?
So in the current round, we're submitting some of the demolition stuff that we've done or the boarding up of the properties at Stover, different kinds of projects like that we've used in the past. And previous to the last 2 councils, there had been stipends that residents could apply for home improvement loans, or not loans, grants that were small amounts, like if somebody was putting on a new roof. I think we offered at one time $2,000 stipends to help defray the cost. Unfortunately, we usually only get anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a year, so the number of grants that we could offer were not that great. So when we were in a position that we did not have funding for a code enforcement official, the administration and the council had directed those monies to go towards code enforcement. I think we have an opportunity here now, since we've gotten a better handle on funding for code enforcement, that if we wish to do some additional things with the community, I think this is a good time to take a look at that. The sky is blue again.
Any questions?
I was gonna make the motion to have the meetings April 4th, 5:45,
April 4th
first one.
And I don't know
April
why I
15th
keep
at
losing
also
this. April
5:45.
4th and April 15th at 5:45 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion on that? I know that 6 o'clock is pretty early, so I work until 5, so getting here at 5:45 would be challenging, I suspect, for at least one other council member it would be as well, from history of experience.
I will be out of town that day for spring break vacation.
Okay.
The 4th?
Mhm.
Okay.
if we were to move it to 6 and move our council meeting to 6:15, is there any interest in that, or should we just go with the concern would be quorum, right? It doesn't really matter if I'm not here, but.
So if we publish at 5:45, that gives us flexibility to move into the other meeting if we need to do that.
Does that present a burden for anybody being at 5:45 versus 6?
It doesn't for me.
Doable.
I mean, we can make it 6.
I mean, we can make it
Yeah,
6 and just go into the evening.
That's fine.
I think we should call council right after we're done with that, whenever, however.
It's community engagement
It's
meeting, I
community
think.
engagement, so.
Yeah.
On the 4th, right? But on the
Uh-huh.
15th, it'll be council.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking at the 15th.
So is there a motion to change it to 6 or to leave it at 5:45?
I'm
I was
okay with
unclear.
5:45. You talking about for community engagement?
Yes, I apologize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can leave community engagement at 5:45 and then on the 15th, change that to 6.
I'm okay with
If
that.
you're gonna do that, then you need to change council to 6:15.
Or following
big deal.
that, no?
Huh?
We could change council to following that meeting.
Make it very clear that it's following the meeting.
All right, sounds good.
So is there a, what do we need? Amend the motion?
Amended motion, so April 4th, we'll keep that at 5:45, but April 15th at 6 PM. And we have to advertise to 6:15 for a council meeting immediately after.
6:15 and/or immediately after,
Sure.
yes.
So or is there a second?
Second.
All right, so on the first motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No,
Okay, so,
we're on the
yeah.
second motion. Will you
Yeah,
amend
we
the
would be
motion?
doing that, yeah, but there's two motions, there's two things on the floor.
She
I said it
amended the
as
original
one.
motion.
Okay,
She amended the original motion.
right, I thought that we had to,
I think she
I
made
thought
it,
we had to have the first one die and then vote for the next one, but.
She amended the first.
she amended it. It's, yeah, if she rescinded it, which is a,
All right,
What I used
so
to
we're all
say.
clear, so we're all clear on what's being voted on, it's as most recently stated.
Right.
All those in favor without objection, I take that as unanimous.
Okay.
Unanimous. All right.
And then will you send out the details of that to everybody?
I'm sorry, say
Will
that
you
again.
send out the details?
Yes, and I should mention the presentation that goes along with this whole thing is now posted in the packet. I posted that at about 5:00 this evening, so it's out there now. So look at today's packet and it'll be there.
Great. Anything else?
Yeah, further updates, demolition on North Weehee continues. Has anybody been up there taking the buildings down? It's pretty cool. They're working on removing foundations now, which I think is gonna be an interesting process. So there's like little blocks sitting everywhere. Hamel Avenue construction has started. We sent letters to the residents last week, letting them know that the project is going to be in full swing here in the next couple of days. And then I wanted to remind, Mayor Densmore was not here at the last council meeting, but I wanted to bring up again that we are encouraging council members and committees that if you have grant opportunities that you've identified that you would like to apply for various things in the village, please coordinate that through Mr. Pridnoff's office. We don't necessarily want to control the grants. We just want to know what's going on so we have consistent messaging. There are some boilerplate kinds of things such as demographic information and so forth that we need to be consistent on as we're applying for these things. So again, just wanted to make that offer to everybody and just keep us in the loop on what you're looking at. So, and that would be the end of my report.
Thank you. Any questions? I noticed the work being done on Canterbury.
Yes.
Can you speak to that?
Sure. So we told the contractor we were unhappy with how the right of way turned out on Canterbury. Elbrook and Weehee both look a lot better than Canterbury did. And initially, we were gonna go back in and fix the right of way. They planted seed at the end of the summer last year and it just didn't do well. And they used this netting that was really nasty that did not dissolve. So they have instructions to remove the netting. They're putting down new soil and will be actually hydroseeding that green spray stuff that they use, which should be more effective. So that should be done here within the next week or so.
And that's on Englewood as well.
Correct.
I said Canterbury, but that pool.
Yeah, they're working their way down our street now.
Thank you. Mr. Britnoff.
So the contractor's fixing that. We're not paying for it.
Sweet.
So I'm going to run through the finance packets that we did in finance last 2 weeks ago. Bear with me. General fund shows, so for the year-end close was accomplished before the last finance. The general fund reserve was reduced by $8,199.87. That is the extent to which I'm going to go into that report. There are many more details. I highly recommend everyone take a look at the year-end document. And that's all I have to say about that. For the month of December fiscal year 23, the village had a combined bank balance of $2,494,461.72. Of this amount, $275,34.94 can be found in the village's primary checking account. $610,810.74 can be found in the village's high interest savings account. Remaining balance resides in other village dedicated funds. The village generated $93,638.08 in general fund income tax receipts. RETA collections were significantly higher than December of the previous year. For the year, the village has collected for the year fiscal year 23, the village collected $1,103,607.50 in general fund income tax receipts, which surpasses 2022 collections by 16.12%. The village received the remainder of the outstanding real estate taxes in October. The village received $160,911.77 in general fund receipts. That number was $73,963.81 more than December of fiscal year 22. The increase is attributed to RETA collections and grant money from Hamilton County for Volunteer Park. The DEA program received in December of $13,188.33, which brought the annual total to $128,726.77. This was below average year for the DEA program. Star Fund earned $7,412.34, totaling $69,458.67 for 2023. $610,810.74 of all funds reserved cash were placed in the Fifth Third Savings Account, earning $3,274.46, totaling $14,658.69 for 2023. Again, a record year for interest for the village. Top 5 pays for the month were Central Land Title Agency, payroll, Alita Construction, DPS, and JMA Consultants. Total village general fund appropriations spent for the month was the amount of $349,539.13. That figure was $128,193.52 more than December fiscal year 22 due to the purchase of the car wash. Village had 11 outstanding payments totaling $40,446.25. Village administration will continue to monitor appropriation spend. That was December. I will go through January very quickly. Not very quickly. Correct me. For the month of January fiscal year 24, the village had a combined bank balance of $2,572,380.73. Of that amount, $169,292.28 can be found in the village's primary checking account. $453,611.59 can be found in the high interest savings account. Remaining balance in other village dedicated funds. Village generated $83,157.54 in general fund income tax receipts. RETA collections surpassed January of the previous year by over 20%. Village has not received the first biannual disbursement of real estate taxes for Hamilton County Auditor. The village received $134,243.90 in general fund receipts. This number is $23,024.69 more than January fiscal year 23, again attributed to RETA collections. The DEA program did not receive anything in January. The Star Fund earned $7,397.40, $453,611.59. All funds reserve cash continued to grow in the Fifth Third Savings Account and earned $2,300.85. Top pays for the month were payroll, DPS, OPNF, Ohio Police and Fire, that is Rumpke Container, and Ohio Treasurer Estate for OPWC loans. That's a biannual payment. Total village general fund appropriation spend for the month was in the amount of $348,192. The figure is $122,222.79 more than January for fiscal year 23 due to advancing $137,500 to the fire levy from the general fund until levy funds will arrive from the county. Again, very important to have that strategic reserve. The village had 11 outstanding payments that totaled $48,446.25, and the village administration will continue to monitor appropriation spend and make any adjustments deemed necessary. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. President?
Thank you for
Thank you
the
for your
year
reports.
I had asked
and all the
about,
employees.
I had asked about ARPA funding in the last finance meeting, and I know Mr. Hurst was not here for that conversation. So I was wondering if there was an update on my request for ARPA fund.
I'll have that for you when we talk on Wednesday.
Perfect.
Did I not send it to you?
I think you sent it to me and I needed to
Okay,
update it.
That's okay.
My apologies.
I told you.
Need a motion to accept the finance report.
Motion to accept the finance report.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So can I mention real quick if Mr. Pritnell could give, as he's typing, a quick synopsis of the EMA ARPA project that you've been working on, because I think people need to be aware of the amount of effort that's gone into that.
Sure. So among the other things that I'm doing, Paula's position, doing payroll and the, what do you call it? Pensions, my apologies, it's been a long day. I am having to resubmit some reports to the EMA ARPA grant, which is major, I would say major windfall to the police department, reimbursing money spent out of the police levy for recruitment of new officers, which are current officers with the police department. I'm going to ask Chief Campbell for any more information about that, but the level of detail which was required in order to receive the reimbursement was more than we were able to supply in previous iterations. Not that we couldn't, just that it required going through and auditing the. There were certain policies in place, really due to, I would say, an abundance of caution, not making any changes to time cards, but only it's a lot of detail, avoiding any legal issues, but essentially it requires me to go through all of the time cards of the employees, which are in the police department employees, and then confirming all of the village funds that went through to that. It seems like it should be a really easy request. It isn't such a difficult request. It just takes a lot of time. And because of the other things that I'm working on, that has also taken a lot of time. So my apologies for the delay in the payment software request. I had mentioned to Ms. Brewer that it's likely that would be by the next council meeting that we'll have an update on that. But in the meantime, that is, I mean, the total grant, Chief, remind me, what's the total grant that's meant to, over $400,000?
Yeah, it was 430.
Something like
I
that.
don't remember the exact.
So we received $25,000 based on previous reporting. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. They're a great organization. They do a lot of great work in the state. But I think the word on the street is that if the current employees of the EMA are not too thrilled about doing this ever again, and that the requirements have just become very, very challenging to get back to them. Again, it's not anything that we can't do. It just takes time, and time is not something that we all have tons of. You may notice there are times when I'm not in the office here. That's because I'm working on this at home, where I can't be interrupted by people. No offense, I do want to talk to you, but emails are great. So that's that. But that project has. I'm very close to finishing at least the time card portion of that. Then it'll be moving on to the insurance portion of that, and then the pensions, which it's interesting, even the supports that we have, they're asking for things that we don't normally keep and are not required to keep. So because of that level of detail that they're requesting, it's just taking a lot of time. I have new systems now that if the request comes through now, I can report all of that within minutes. But all of the old data came on a spreadsheet from somebody who entered information onto a spreadsheet originally created by someone who's familiar with Lotus, if anyone actually knows what that is. In my life, I've never seen such complicated spreadsheets. To pull information from them for specific reports is fine, but anything beyond those reports is excruciating. So it just takes time. Again, so that's just a little bit of an update of what I'm doing, but it doesn't backseat any of the requests that people send me. I'm happy to do them as much as I can, and I appreciate your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Putnam. Any other questions? Chief Campbell.
I'll start off by thanking Mr. Pridnall. We won that grant right before I had to step away for medical reasons, like 2 days prior. So when they first awarded it, it was pretty new concept. It was pretty open and not a lot of detail. We were kind of being told as the grant rolls out, more detail will be provided, and I wasn't there for all that. So I appreciate all the work you put into that. It's a windfall to go to work for. It's a lot of money. It's going to help us all a lot. So thank you. Next, I have the Mayor's Court report for the month of February. Total to the village, $4,639. Total to the state, $1,095.50. The other line, which is the county, is $37.50 for a total of $5,772. That is the end of the Mayor's Court report.
Is there a motion to accept the report?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The next item I have was the citation report, the officer activity listing. We had an internal meeting and spoke about our step car program, which is traffic enforcement. And these numbers will show the citations that come as a result of that program. So total citations for the month of February were 78. I think the previous months it's been 30s to 40s. Any questions on that? And then lastly, I shared the activity report for the PD for the month of February. Again, there's two categories. There's officer initiated calls and then dispatched calls. The police department had 178 officer initiated calls compared to 139 that were dispatched. That's a total of 317 calls for the month. I like it when our officers have more initiated activity versus dispatched. I like them to be proactive, and that's exactly what they're doing. Any questions on that? And then we had spoken about Sundance. I don't know what else to discuss with that. I feel like we've covered everything. Captain Reed is here. If there's any questions for him, put him on the spot. But again, I think we've went over that extensively. And then finally, Officer Ward, Shane Ward, he's our newest officer. He started part-time with us. So we just wanted to introduce him to you guys and you guys to him. We're happy to have him aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Campbell?
How do you know what to
You're watching the camera.
What's that?
That's what you probably text them, yeah.
walked in at the perfect time.
I wasn't told when to come.
That's what Captain Reed does.
Mr. Butler.
Thank you.
Thanks.
There's one piece of legislation in front of you, ordinance number
You should probably stay for this,
20.4-1, which amends the appropriations This was in front of you last time. It regards amending the appropriations for the Sundance database management software as well as for the K-9 unit. I don't know, Mr. Prinoff, do you have anything else on that?
That's all it is.
K-9 unit?
Hmm?
What was the second thing?
K-9 dog.
There's the appropriation within the DEA fund, which will be a balance transfer advance from the general fund. So that money is earmarked, so to speak. That's the chief saying that this will be a DEA expense for the initiation, and the K-9 fund, which is specific donations which were earmarked for the K-9. Those are the only changes.
So I need a motion to read by title only.
Motion to read by title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No objection, I take that as unanimous.
Ordinance number 2024-1, an ordinance to amend appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Gulf Manor for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024.
Any discussion, any questions?
Motion to adopt.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second,
Second.
I'll second. No.
roll call, please.
Ms. Brewer,
Yes.
Ms. Cheney,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Ms. Nail,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all that I have.
All right, my understanding is that Ms. Kramer, Chair of the Executive Committee, has passed off her report in her absence today to Councilperson Mann.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read it. So the executive committee report. So executive committee met on I'll be a little bit more formal. March 4th. We discussed landlord tenant issues and how we can support code enforcement in the village while also protecting the most vulnerable of our population. These are our citizens, senior citizens, low-income individuals and families, and explore protecting tenants' rights for those without a lease against retaliation. We suggested the administration work with the National League of Cities for resources on working with both landlords and tenants for small municipalities. We also reviewed all the current legislation in our charter and ordinances relating to landlords, tenants, and code enforcement. Village Ordinance 557.08 speaks to monthly reports of progress in abating known nuisance properties. There was an ask from the committee for the solicitor to provide an update and any changes on abatement issues, as stated in the ordinance, as well as for Mr. Putoff to provide an at least quarterly report on code enforcement in the village. We also asked the administration to invite Mr. Putoff to the next executive committee meeting to discuss code enforcement issues and what they are currently able to accomplish. From there, we may recommend legislation that mirrors the city of Cincinnati's that provides the village the ability to force landlords to pay for relocation if a tenant is forced to be relocated due to code enforcement or Department of Health concerns. I would like to note that during the meeting, the executive committee meeting on February 5th, the committee chair asked for a copy of all studies, reports, and projects for the last 12 months and the standard operating procedures for the village administration and police department. The request was reiterated on February 20th, full council meeting, as a request from the full committee. As of March 18th, the village administrator's agenda template is the only item to be received. Next month, we have been tasked with completing the annual review for the village administrator, in preparation. I've asked for copies of the employment agreement, past reviews, and any performance-related materials in the village administrator's personnel file to be shared with the executive committee members before our next meeting on April 1. I've also made recommendations to the mayor to add a community member. Now I get the mess of your last name, Katie LaFollette. LaFollette. I gotta get that right. All right, to the executive committee, which we have done. So, and I'll say informally, not in her words, but mine, what we did, support the Sundance and pass it off to the fiscal officer, which is why we all voted yes today. So,
Very good. I want to thank the chair and Ms. Mount for the report.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any questions? All right. Planning Commission, next scheduled meeting to be determined based on any business. So I don't see a date listed there.
There's no pending business at
No
this point.
pending business. How are we on Planning Commission membership? Are we in need of?
So we have 2 previous members who have reapplied, and we have an ask for volunteers that we have not yet posted.
Okay.
So Ms. Brewer and I think we're talking about that on Wednesday.
So are we short currently, or?
There are 5 planning commission members, we have 3, so we have a quorum
Right.
to meet. We just don't have a full complement of members.
Right. And are they appointed, is there a mixture of appointments from the mayor and from council, or is it all council? How is that set up? For planning commission?
So 1 member is a council member appointed by council, that would be Ms. Cheney. And then the other 3 are Rob offhand.
Offhand, I thought I was on it.
Yeah, you're on it. Well, you're, yeah.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, let's look. Five members, 1 a member of council, selected by council. Other 4 members shall be appointed the mayor and approval of council. At least 3 of these 4 must be electors of the village. And I
Appointed by mayor and.
Yeah, thought I was on it. Or do I just attend?
Say that again?
I thought I was on the actual commission, but I guess I'm just attending.
You're here, you and I are here as coordinators.
Got it.
And then Mr. Scott is the business owner and also a resident.
What are the terms? Are they specified in there?
4-year staggered terms.
And Ms. Cheney, how long have you been on there?
I just was appointed. I
Just
haven't had a
appointed.
meeting yet.
Okay. Okay, so.
So again, 5 members, 1 member of council, selected by council. Other 4 members appointed by the mayor with the approval of council.
you have a
These
couple
3 are
people.
executors of the village.
And I believe the process that we were trying to do to make sure that we were opening it up to as wide a scope of people as we can, is that we are posting it online, we are asking for applications, and then selecting the best candidates from those applications for appointment.
All right, very good. Thank
And
you for
actually,
your work
1
on
can
this.
be a non-elector of the village. Has to be.
What does that mean?
Well, he
Oh,
doesn't live in
business
the
person. Okay.
Pardon?
Like a business owner.
Yeah, but has to be a business owner or property owner within the village. Which is kind of rare, but.
Right. All right, so community engagement, sorry for the delay. Ms. Brewer.
All right, Community Engagement Committee met on March 7th, and it was a party, you guys. We all missed out. We had a room full of engaged residents who shared a lot of great ideas, and we hope to bring as many of them to fruition as we can. One such idea was bringing line dancing as a community event, so we're trying to find an instructor to do so. But literally, like, the room was packed, and it was very lovely to see. I did make a recommendation to the mayor to appoint residents Phyllis Thomas and Keevan Thompson to the Community Engagement Committee, which has been completed. We did discuss the strategic plan town halls that took place the week before and what the next steps are for gathering data and reaching a wider audience. So next steps are going to be to put out a survey. It was, a recommendation was made to put a flyer together that will have a QR code for said survey, as well as employing that, a link to that survey out via our social media, our website, of which the website will have its own dedicated section that is dedicated to the strategic plan, which will have relevant documents. I've sent all of that information over to Mr. Hirth, so we should hopefully get that uploaded here soon. And then, yeah, the survey should be ready in the upcoming days. We are waiting on a committee email address to be able to direct responses to, so it doesn't go to any particular individual's inbox. Additionally, we have discussed having a table at the upcoming soapbox derby and other events that we will be having throughout the village. That there is a community engagement table. Come talk to us, come find out what's going on. By the way, go take this survey, give us your feedback. Another way for us to just be present and get and solicit feedback. And definitely like meet people where they, physically literally are. And then, and get feedback that way. Let's see. So on the We Thrive updates there, we did meet with Shaila, who is our new person, our new point of contact with the program. They had a very successful final Tai Chi class where I believe we had between 8 and 10 what they're calling completers. So that does mean that for each completer, the village does receive $50 per person that we can then put back into programming for future programs. It's my understanding that they all brought dishes to share. There was a carrot cake that we all missed out on. I'm very sad about that. And then they gave a demonstration of what they had learned in their class to Shaila, and she had many, many positive things to say about it. Let's see. So we also have talked about some other resources. They want, some of the residents have asked for a Center of Aging catalog on what other programs there are that are available. So we are working on getting connected with those folks to see what else we could be doing here in the village, space, time, all of that. Moving forward, we are talking about bringing yoga back soon and potentially bringing it indoors, much to my personal delight, but also, weather permitting, kind of, having that ability to move inside if it is too hot or too rainy. And then we talked quite a bit about, so neighborhood communications, we've been talking about this quite a bit. That is one of the components of the meeting that Mr. Hirth is referencing that we will talk about on Wednesday, is getting a lot of that stuff streamlined and moving forward. Let's see. We did have a planning committee meeting for the Juneteenth celebration, which is going to be June 14th. So anybody who would like to volunteer to participate in the planning of that, please reach out to either myself or Mel. And we're happy to connect you with the next time that we plan on meeting. There was a lot of talk specifically from the strategic plan town hall about beautification. Spring is coming, questions about Veterans Park, things like that. So we were going to get in touch with Ms. Cheney about what those efforts are there, and perhaps having you attend the next community engagement meeting to coordinate those plans with interested residents. And then we've also talked about the rental properties and tenant rights in conjunction with the work being done on executive committee to get those resources together and figure out what the best way to move forward is to bring that information to residents. And then the final thing we had was Ms. Cleo from Ridge Acres requested that we have a youth council, which is a suggestion that we have heard quite a bit over the past several months or so. And so our newest member, Keevan, will be the point of contact for a youth council. So look for more updates that in our next meeting, but we are very excited about that one. So next meeting for us is going to be April 4th at 6 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Brewer. I had told you I would follow up with you about the farmer that I know. That's it's Rose Hill Farm. It's a local farm, does all organic produce, and they are interested in doing farmers markets and interested in coming and talking to council about what they would need assurance-wise in terms of number of people turning out and everything to do something like that. I had told Ms. Brewer, as chair of the committee, that I would get her the contact information. I did reach out that day to find out what would be the best way for them to reach out, email, phone, and just was confirmed today that you are welcome to contact them directly. I have an email address and the phone number for David Child, who's the owner of Rose Hill Farm, so I can get you all that contact information after the meeting.
There's some,
You can just email it to me, that'd be great.
sorry, there's some state regs on doing that. So if we're gonna do it, it's not a big deal, but we just have to, there's things we have to comply with and we actually have to register with the state.
Absolutely. Thank you. What he was interested in doing, just answering people's questions and
Understood.
being able to communicate.
We did it years ago and it was, the process was, I think everybody was happy with it. The process wasn't a big deal, but we just do need to make sure we're compliant.
Yeah, we also, Ms. Primer and I ran into somebody at a Women's Day fair that we had gone to, that there's like a mobile farmer's market that kind of has the same structure, but does not require people to bring all of their stuff to the village and set up, but we can still purchase from, you know, farmers individually. And there's like, it's like a delivery service, so more to come on that.
Excellent. Special project on education, Ms. Cheney, any report?
Yeah. I didn't get to report last month, but, so I'm gonna go over some of it because it was important. The school construction is on target for PRM with the fall completion date. The CPS board is working on budget cuts. I know you've probably heard that. I can tell you that they're $100 million in the hole. The ad hoc committee of the board has found 60 million that they can reduce. People aren't liking it at all because they wanted to combine for the schools. So everything's put on hold there because they have to be more informative to the population. You know, they haven't been telling anybody anything unless you went to the ad hoc meetings. The pandemic funds, I don't know if you've heard or not, but they've ended, and CPS is using those for the nurses in every school. So they're not going to be able to have the nurses. So they're talking about how they can fund that. It is important to have a nurse in every school. And it also will reduce the resource coordinators too, and it will affect PRM. We have a really good resource coordinator that we're going to try, you know, find a way to keep in our budget. So the budgets are not ready. They're usually ready now for the LSDMC people to approve. We probably won't get it till this summer after school's out. So we'll have to have a special meeting for that. On the November ballot this year is also a renewal for pre-K. And that's worth, I think it's a 5 mil levy. If they don't get that, then I'll probably have to cut the pre-K program. The pre-K program has been really, really good. And I can tell you that with the younger kids being educated earlier with reading and math, that CPS schools scores are coming up. And I don't know if you've heard yet either that the train of thought just went that way. That CPS is one of the top schools now in the state of Ohio that has reached the reading and math where they're supposed to be from the pandemic. So that's a huge compliment. I can tell you that PRM has either reached their goal for the one plan, or they're real close to it, or they've passed it, and that's in all the grade levels. So our principal, Ms. Simpson, is estimating that the school's going to get a 3.5 on the state report card this year, which will be really, really good. So I have to thank all the teachers and the principal for bringing that up. Teachers have been really, really good. Enrollment at PRM now keeps growing. We're at 760 now, and the school's only been built for 750. Okay, I think I'm. Oh, the big thing that I have to make sure that parents know is April 1st, the Ohio tests are going to begin. It is extremely important that your child, whatever school they attend in CPS, that they attend that day when they're being tested, because the school gets points for every child that gets tested. So that adds to their report card. So it's very important. I'll also put something, I think, on our website too, so that everybody knows that you've got to get your kid there that day and they got to be on time. PRM is not going to test the first week in April. So, you know, that's okay. She says she's just not quite ready yet to do that. So stay tuned for that. We'll put something out on the website for that. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Cheney?
No? Okay.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
And let's see, Mr. Fisher, Finance Committee report.
Finance met last meeting, and Eric went through everything that we discussed, and we voted tonight on what we approved to do a fund advance transfer to the DA fund to allow for the Sundance to be purchased, and that's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Fisher? All right, let's see.
I have one follow-up question going back to executive. Do we have an update of when we'll get the requested reports from that the committee requested?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do we have an update of the timeline and when we'll get the reports that were requested from the executive committee?
Well, I think I need some clarification on what reports that we're looking for, because I think you have everything already.
I think she's referring to executive committee, so.
That's what I'm referring to.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there an updated report of like open projects, outstanding, what their funding sources are, what the village commitment is?
No, but we can compile that.
Okay, yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
Can I speak to a request of the police department? She asked for our policies and procedure. I asked Ms. Primer if there were specific ones. We can get that to her, otherwise it's an electronic document. It would be thousands of pages.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just drop that on her. If there's an area that she wants information on, I'd be happy to bring that or get that to her.
Okay.
Yeah, we can fill that in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's our boss, I can't fill that.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can get with me or chief and have it in 10 seconds.
Got it. Okay.
Excellent. Any further questions? All right, please correct me if any of this information is incorrect. Our next council meetings are scheduled for Monday, April 1st, 2024, no joke. Executive committee at 6 p.m., finance committee at 7 p.m. Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, Human Rights Commission. Thursday, April 4th, 2024, community engagement at 6 p.m. And Tuesday, April 15th, 2024, full council at 6 p.m. 6:15, apologize, as amended today. Any other questions or comments?
Are there any updates on the complaint that was filed last month?
If we're gonna discuss that, we should probably go into executive session.
So an executive session is on our agenda here. I had reached out to Mr. Butler when I learned that Ms. Crimer wasn't going to be here and had requested that we postpone that until she can be available for that meeting. If you'd like to have an executive, otherwise, you'd like to have an executive session to find updates on that, we can do that. It's ultimately a vote of you guys. I had suggested with Mr. Butler that we wait until Ms. Kramer was here.
I mean.
Is there a motion?
Would anybody else like an update? It's been about a month since it's been submitted.
I'm fine with going in for a quick update on like expected timeline, but I think that we should wait.
Motion to enter into executive session
Matter of personnel.
to discuss personnel.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Before we call a vote, just to be clear for all those present, this is a private session of council then, and we had asked you guys to leave. And for those that are tuning in from the interwebs, after this executive session, since we've done our final announcements, we would then close our meeting. So, all right, roll call, please.
Ms. Brewer,
Yes.
Ms. Cheney,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher, Ms. Mail,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your service.
Have a good evening.